Hello, we are back for the long run live stream and podcast. I'm Ian Wilkerson and I'm joined by Chris Ford, producer Toby, and question master Alan for episode 8. And we've got special guest Ian Wilson as well. He's going to be talking all things ultras and running every day and putting us all to shame, really. So, Chris, how we doing, mate? All good?
Yeah, good. I'm just whacking in the box to make sure that everybody is firing in their questions as always. We've got a packed show tonight. Like we've had
packed.
It seemed like a million emails coming from everywhere. So thanks very much. We was arguing just before we started what the email address is. And Tobe, I think I'm going to get this right. It's longrunshow@gmail.com. Keep sending in your questions, whether it be tips, advice, just a story, whatever.
We don't mind anything running related. That if you want to talk about it, we'll have a chat and we'll try and help, or we'll try and entertain. Sometimes
definitely
it's been known, the odd occasion. But how's your week been then, Chris?
Yeah, busy. As always, I say that every week, but busy this week. Training's been up and down, I would say. I deliberately, we had that 20 miler at the weekend where we got soaked, and the video's coming out on Sunday, but we got absolutely soaked. It was a good run, but we got soaked. I was meant to run today and I didn't because basically I was working in the garden. But we've got Parkrun tomorrow and 20 miles on Sunday, so I'm not that fussed about it. But the big news this week, is that Tobe and I are going to be doing the London Marathon physical event. We've switched from the virtual to the physical. So Tobe and I got a couple of places offered to us for a charity. So we've taken them up on that. So we're now going to be doing the physical event in October, which is good news. So October is going to be manic with...
And that is not far away now, October. No. We're in the middle of August.
7 weeks. I can't remember what it is. But yeah, we're going to be doing London physical. We was going to be Dorney, but now we're doing London physical. Then we've got Royal Parks half marathon the week after, and then at the end of the month we're running up a mountain. So it's going to be a busy.
So if anybody's got any ideas of where he wants to be on the 17th or the 24th of October, if he's feeling a bit lazy,
drop us a suggestion. That's the only thing.
Yeah.
Oh, Karen's in the house. Evening, Karen.
Yeah, hi everybody. Nice to see you. Razor. Our resident man in California as well, Razor, with us. Lovely to see you too, mate.
Hello, right.
So, so I mean, there's been loads of stuff going on, isn't it? I mean, we've just got to the end of the Olympics. Did you see that fella in the marathon with his water?
It's a joke. I think that, we had to, and I hate doing it if you're in the Facebook group, but we had to the admins had to remove the post, right? Because there was so much abuse for the guy on there. That what you have to watch, because the people at Facebook watch like their algorithms. If there's like loads of bad language or aggressive behavior, they will literally shut the group down. So we had to remove the post, even though I agreed with what everyone was saying, what the bloke was, and every name he was getting called, right? But we had to actually remove the post so we didn't get shut down by Facebook.
So we'll just paint the picture for everybody. Got one of the runners in the Olympic marathon got to the drink station and decided to initiate his own domino rally by pushing all the bottles over on the table and then reaching for the last one. I mean, I couldn't think of much more bad form. It's not quite in the Olympic spirit, is it?
Yeah, it was just awful behaviour. I think anybody who's doing anything like that, they should be banned. I mean, it's hard to prove, right? And I know that he said he wasn't done it deliberately or whatever, but yeah, I mean, but on a more positive note, let's switch it around. I think Kipchoge was on another level. That was just insane what the bloke done. And also with the women's marathon, that was incredible as well. So I think as a bit of a shoe geek, the fact that she came wearing those Pumas was quite interesting versus all the Nike girls, and then she took them off. I don't know if you guys noticed that, but she had the Puma shoes over her shoulder across the Nike swoosh, which I thought was kind of cute.
Yeah, it's pretty flash.
But yeah, so no, I'm a bit gutted the Olympics are finished. Actually,
the big thing I took from I was left wondering on the Olympics was Saturday, after I got in from being drowned at Parkrun like everybody else. I saw some of the modern pentathlon, and I thought, I wonder how big a flat lay is for a modern pentathlete, because he's got to get all his running kit, he's got to get all his fencing gear. He's got to get his joggers and his riding hat and all that sort. It would actually fill a double bed, wouldn't it?
I would fancy do. Al, do you reckon we should do a pentathlon? Do you reckon you could do it?
I reckon we could. I reckon we could adjust what we've got in the kit bags for the juniors. Definitely.
Yeah, I reckon we could do a pentathlon.
Hurdles, we've got javelins, we've got all sorts we can muck about with.
But you need a horse, don't you?
Well, this was the thing. You borrowed the horse. It was like you hired the one from the club shop, or they got from lost property. You couldn't bring your own horse to the bloody Olympics.
We do a bench and we get some old nag turn up, just about to get made into soap, and then it gets dragged out. Here you go. You got to put up the old boy on you.
Yeah, 16.5 stone of me sat on him. He'd love that.
Mind you,
I think there's a couple down the Nazing Common that we could probably pick up. Borrow for a couple of hours.
We could probably. Ian, what about you? You're a bit of a nutcase doing all these ultras and stuff. Do you fancy a pentathlon?
Give it a go at Bash.
Yes,
why not?
There you go. So there's our
try anything.
Yeah, so we'll have to think of some specials about eating McDonald's. I think that could be one of them. You boys would be pretty good at that, wouldn't you?
I reckon so. Actually, we based our Parkrun location this week solely on the fact it's got a McDonald's down the road. I said to Tate, we was running along. I said, Tate, should we do Parkrun? He went, yeah, where should we go? Could go Harlow, could go here. But Gunpowder, the McDonald's is open and it's 3 minutes from the course. So we're basing now our Parkrun is always revolving around where the nearest McDonald's is, which is
the one at Harlow, that's only about 10 minutes.
Yeah, but someone said to me, I think it was Sabrina, # drop her in it, but she said it was Pony. Don't go to
McDonald's or Harlow Parkrun.
I hope anyone who's listening from Harlow Parkrun doesn't want to kill us after listening to that. But she said it's a load of rubbish. So, and I don't think any Parkrun's rubbish. So I think Sabrina should be pulled across the coals for that one when she's on next week.
Yeah.
And actually, she won't be listening or watching. Just let you all into a little secret. Sabrina's going for a sub 2 hour half marathon on Sunday. So we're filming it. So no pressure. And actually,
a great chance because she's been smashing her training.
I'm going to change total what I'm talking about. If you've got any ultra marathon questions, if you're thinking about doing an ultra marathon or a running streak, put them in the chat because Ian is our ultra marathon guru and he's also on the craziest run streak, and he'll talk to us about it in a minute. But put your questions in about what's it called? Red streak or whatever it is. Ian, what's it called? Or is it...
Red. Run every day.
That's it. Run every day. So he's on his red and he's on, but also about the ultras. So put your cue in front and stick them in, and we'll get onto that in a bit.
Yeah, Angela Smith just said that she's agreed to do an ultra next year. I need my head red. Now, do you really need your head red?
I don't think so. Or do you? I'd like to do it. But I'm not sure. Yeah,
I think it's time for Ian to sell them to us, isn't it?
I was talking to a geezer. I did, remember I did that London Landmarks the other day, and it was a lovely chat. Can't remember his name. He's some like Instagram dude. He was a really nice guy, and he's like an ultra marathon runner. He's just said, no, just keep at it. It's not as bad as it seems. It's like, just going with an open mind, you'll actually enjoy it, But I don't know. I'd like Ian. What's the recommendation for me and Tobe to do as in terms of our first ultra?
Well, technically, an ultra, it only has to be about 31 miles.
No, so, if I'm going to do it, I'm going big.
50k then. That's 50k. That's still a 31 miles.
I like 100 miles. The sound of that. Or is that too ambitious?
Probably for your first one, but I haven't done 100 yet.
What's your longest one, Ian, that you've done?
The longest I've done is 48 miles. That was a single Spatsway ultra.
And and this is the thing with these ultras, right? They're all hilly, aren't they?
Oh yes, I trail. I think the last one I done was about nearly 7,000 foot of elevation.
Jesus, 7,000 foot.
Yeah.
I actually saw some ultra runners last Saturday when I was coming back from the. I was at Bexley Parkrun and I was coming back along Shooters Hill Road in South London, and the Canterbury Trails was on, and I looked them up. They were people who were doing 100k from London Bridge down to Canterbury. Now, this was something that didn't attract me at all, because really, if I was going to do one of these races, I think I'd want to be out in the middle of nowhere, out in the woods and on the trails, rather than running along the A207 down to through the Kent suburbs. I couldn't really have it. But
I'll tell you what, this is a really weird one, right? This is so random that I wouldn't mind doing. And it could be, well, there's two things. We're in the midst of a challenge, Toby, by the way. If you're if you're part of the community on YouTube, you'd have seen that Toby's shoes are being delivered this week for the next challenge. But the next challenge, Toby, I'll put it now, we're live. Could be, why don't we run from here to Southend? Like, that's got to be about 50 miles, isn't it? Or am I completely barking mad? Is it only 25?
I do a bike ride from here to Southend.
There's no point getting on a bike.
no,
Nobody goes
running. Fordy runs running community.
Yeah. So can someone let me know what the distance is from Broxbourne to Southend? Because I think that'd be a great ultra. I don't know why, but the other one, what I was thinking, who was I talking to about this? Oh, it's Mark Sloan. I don't know if Mark's listening, but Mark's come up with a brilliant challenge, Toby, which is basically we send Toby over to the Isle of Wight on a canoe, and then we drop him onto the Isle of Wight, and he's got to run around it, and he's got a certain period of time to do it. That's another ultra that you could. Ian, have you done that around the Isle of Wight?
No, mine's mainly been kind of so like in the northeast. So I think I've done a few of it. So like I think I took part in the Wall as part of a relay. That's like a 70-mile across from Carlisle to Newcastle, but it was like only it's a team of 4 were. It was 4 Fordys. It was like obviously Jackie, Dan, and Amanda, and then obviously I ran from Hexham into Newcastle for the last leg, but I was kind of waiting around all day. And I've done the threshold one. I've done Race to Castle, and there was somebody in the comments talking about going to do day 2 of Race to Castle. So that's a good one to do.
Ian, how did you get into it then? Did you sort of like progress? Can you just give us a brief introduction to your running story about how you gone from point 1 to being an ultra runner?
I think when I was younger, when I was a teenager, I used to do the Great North Run just with being local, because it goes past my town, because I live in South Shields, and I think my heart was always to be a runner, but then after that I just found other things and I stopped running, and I took it up again in about 2015. I started off by getting involved in just a 1 mile charity race dressed as Santa, and then after that I progressed to a park run. Then I was doing Parkrun for a while, and I started getting back to doing the Great North Run, and then half marathons led to marathons, and then on to ultras after I started doing the trail thing, doing a lot more trail running.
So it's been a real progression then. Do you find that you're sort of like always looking for the next sort of adventure, and are you quite an adventurous person and, like challenging yourself?
Yeah, definitely like challenging myself. I mean, every time there's somebody posts something on the Fordy page about like sort of a daft run, I always get tagged in it for some reason.
It's true. It's true. We signed him up for Ragnar. We said we put Ian in because he's just a machine. He's just an absolute machine. I remember when we did him for Ragnar. Ian, I've got 2 questions for you, if you don't mind.
Yep.
40, right. So it's 40 miles. From Hertfordshire to Southend, apparently. And thanks, by the way, 70 miles around the Isle of Wight. Toby's going to do that next year. 40 miles. How long does that take? And second question, what shoes do you wear? Do you wear like special, like ultra shoes? Or do you just get a daily trainer? Or I mean, what? Surely for your shoes, you must be thinking something a little bit more comfy, but then your trail. Talk to me about your shoes.
Yeah, I mean, the last one I ran, which was like the Guthbert's Way 45 miler, I just ran them in me Gore-Tex Nike Trail 2 ones, you know. So I ran them there. I just ran the whole lot in that because I knew there was going to be some boggy bits going over the top of the hills, so they were kind of perfect
just normal
for that.
running shoes. So it's not
Yeah.
you're not picking anything. And 40 miles, how long do you reckon it'll take me?
It depends because what you've got to think of about an ultra is you technically you don't run the lot. I mean, you just walk up the hills and run down them. I mean, obviously, unless you're going to come top 10 and you can run a lot of them, you know, I just kind of hike them, you know what I mean? So it's just enjoying it, you know, and just kind of walk the hills, run down them. And I mean, I'd done the 45. I'd done it in 16 hours, which is like about an hour quicker than last time. Yeah. So
sounds like a training run, Chris.
What's that, Joe?
Sounds like a training run. That walk the hills, walk up.
I reckon 40 miles. I reckon we need to aim to do that in a day. If we set off at 8 o'clock, who's up for this? Let me know, everybody. Who's up for joining me and Toby and Alan? And both of the Ians are going to come and do this as well. We're going to live podcast while we do it. We're going to run from Hertfordshire to Southend, and then when we get to Southend, we're going to have an ice cream, and that's why we're going to have an ice cream. It's a brilliant.
Ian, was that the biggest thing that surprised you then when you did your first ultra? You just said that the times where you walk the hills and things like that. It seems that it's manageable. It's not perhaps as daunting as people might envisage. Would that be fair to say?
Definitely. I mean, what you've got to think of is when you're coming from like a road marathon where you've got like certain cut-off times, and obviously the organisers are wanting to get the roads back open again for the public. Sometimes 6 hours. You've got pressure to get the run done in that time. But with the trail, the cut-offs aren't as kind of tough. You know what I mean? So obviously with you doing the trail stuff and that, like you can take longer. I mean, I think it was like 17.5 hour cut-off for the 45 miler and that. And I think for the wall, for doing the 70 miler one, I think you had 26 hours to do that one, and so the cut-offs aren't as bad, and it's manageable. I mean, from some of the threshold series ones, obviously the race to Castle I just done, you had people just hiking it for the 2 days doing the 100k, so it's not as daunting as what you would think, and it kind of, you've got longer cut-offs, so it is more doable.
And there's not the sort of fixation with PBs and things like that we perhaps have, when we're doing half marathons or 10Ks or whatever, you're not fixated with how long it takes you to do, because there's not that pressure to completing the task is the big thing, I suppose. Yeah,
it is. It's just all about getting to that finish line, however you get it. I mean, you meet people along the way and you start like being at the same pace as them. You start talking to them, getting to know them, made quite a few friends that way, and just like kind of, so it's good.
I like the idea of that. So basically I could talk to someone for 16 hours. I could talk to you for 16 hours. And your aftershocks, your battery would run out. So I know that you would have to listen.
That's only got about 5 hours in it.
Al, have you done it? Have you done Stalt? What's Stalt?
No, I didn't. No. Stalt 10. That's about an ultra 10. For me.
Oh, that don't count, bro.
It's a Stalt 50, isn't it? That goes.
The Stalt 30
was on the other week. She did that.
Actually running the day we did Rock Up and Run. So that's normally around about mid to late October. So I've not seen it advertised for this year, but don't see why not, as it ran during COVID last year. So if anyone's local to Bishop Stortford, have a look at that one.
What's the best time to be doing your ultras, do you think then, Ian? It's the old sort of, I suppose it just accentuates the cold and comfortable to the hot and steamy sort of comparison. What would you prefer to do?
I think the times I've kind of done marathon, sort of like ultras and stuff, has been kind of May, June, July sort of time. And obviously, it starts getting a bit too warm in August and September, and that, so it's better. I mean, I have done a kind of a trail marathon. I think it was in November, and it was awful. It was so bad. It was rain, windy, and muddy as hell. And I think it was so bad they actually changed the marathon route to be 2 laps of the half route because it was that bad. I think that was the closest I've ever come to DNFing in a race. I finished in 9 hours, but I still got round. Finished dead last, but I still got round. And I think that's one of the things you kind of learn from doing ultra stuff is like kind of like you're mentally so much stronger It's not just about your legs getting round. It's like your brain, you know, mind against your body sort of thing. You know what I mean? When you want to quit, just pushing on. And every time I'm in a tough place on an ultra or something, I just draw from them sort of experiences. You know,
it's incredible.
That's great, Alan. We got plenty of comments and questions coming in. What we got? He's gone. Where is he?
Oh, he's on mute.
You muted again now.
He's on mute. Well, I tell you, while we sort Alan's mic out, all I've got to say is, Mark Sloan, you said to me on Wednesday that you really fancied an ultra, so I'm totally up for that with Gemma. I think that we all run from Hertfordshire to Southend. If anyone, we'll figure that out and we'll do that next year if anybody wants to do it. So we're running for an ice cream. I've got to give a big shout out to Chris Grantham. He's joined us. We said hello to Ray, didn't we?
Yeah.
I've got to make sure I give a shout out to Ray. There was someone asking about some shoes. Where was it? Billy Chapman. That was it. Because I've had a lot of questions about this actually on Instagram. People have been messaging me about their marathon shoes. So, which is a bit of a worry because I think really you should probably have had your marathon shoes sorted really by now. But it's still a good question. What non-plated shoes would each of you recommend for a marathon? I'm including the speed as plated. I'm going to cheat a little bit, Billy. But I was running in the Skechers Max Road 5. I did 20 miles in them on Sunday, and they were amazing. They are, the reason I say them cheating, because they do actually have a carbon-infused H plate at the front, but it's there also for stability more than propulsion. So I would recommend the Max Road 5. I'd also have a look at the obviously Glide Ride 2, which Toby done his 100-mile review, and that's out today on the channel. If you've not seen that, if you want something with a rocker in it and a little bit more firmer. What are you wearing for your marathon, Wilco?
Oh, I've got some Brooks Adrenalines. I like them. I'm just comfortable in them.
We need to do. I'm going to do a whole show, right? Because I filmed. Was it yesterday or the other day? A video about Nike. I went on a rant and rave about Nike, and I'm next up ranting and raving is about Brooks, because I am bored to death of their shoes being the same shoes. They're like from 1987. They're the same thing.
Yeah, but I never had a pair then.
They're so boring. I mean, I know everybody in the community loves Brooks shoes, but they're so boring. Anyway, but that's another podcast. What about Al? Are you back up and running, bruv?
I didn't go away. It's always there.
He never went away. So, bruv, what shoes are you thinking of for your non-plated for a marathon?
Non-plated?
Yeah.
Well, I'm training at the moment in Brooks, but the Hyperion.
It's got to be an age thing. Yeah, go on.
It probably is, yeah. Obviously, I'm waiting for my Max Road 5 Skechers to come back in stock. I'm on the waiting list. And I'm still debating whether to go for a pair of Hockers, just to give them a try, as I've not tried those.
The Cliftons?
Don't know. There's so many options, so nice, many pairs of white ones. I don't know. I just might buy them all.
Actually, I'm going for a real black stage eating shoes. I've got three. I'm just looking over here. I've got 4 pairs of black shoes here. I don't know why I keep going. I went for a period of orange shoes. Does anyone else go for that? Like Ian's, he's on a run streak. I go for a colour streak. I went mad and I went and got a load of orange shoes, and now I've got. I don't know. I've gone all black. I don't. I mean, I like black shoes, but they all look the same.
I mean, it's almost time to talk to Ian about his run streak. But before that, I want one last thing about ultras, which is probably the most attractive thing of doing an ultra in my respect, is all the free food you get.
Oh,
talk us through it.
That's true.
Definitely. I mean, from my point of view, that's another thing that attracts us about ultras is the fact I like to call them just a long distance buffet. You just eat your way through. Like pies, sandwiches, all sorts.
Pies? Yeah. You eat a pie when you're out doing a marathon?
Yeah. Oh. Anything goes.
What's your go-to? What's your go-to sort of during your run, nutrition-wise? What's the delicacy that you might get at your pit stop that gets you going and you look forward to?
I think recently it's been pork pies.
It's funny because I know a guy who does Ironmans, swears by pork pies.
Really?
Races too. Yeah.
Yeah, pork pies, Scotch eggs, things like that.
Oh, I was banging trouble on Tuesday, weren't I, boys? We was doing a club run, and I had Well, Toby made me have it. I had a double quarter pounder with cheese, and it was about 3 hours before. But I was in trouble. I mean, they all went off ahead of me. And that was about 3. I don't know how you do it. I don't know. I couldn't eat anything like that.
You did miss out half your meal there. You also had the chicken burger and the litre of Coke.
Oh, that is true. That is true. I do. It was a bit of a schoolboy error to be fair.
Is it? Al wants to know if there's a vegan option.
Yeah, come on in. How do us vegans get around 50 miles?
Oh, that's true. Eat grass.
It's plentiful, in good supply.
Actually,
not being a vegan, I'm not too sure, but I know a lot of the events are starting at them because that question just come up. Like Threshold, they do some of the vegan food options on the buffet tables. I like to call it.
We get a special VIP buffet table, do we?
Yeah,
Excellent.
yeah, definitely.
Can't you just eat the trees and stuff? Or they're not allowed to do that?
I think Mel's being rude. Nuts to vegans, apparently, but I think I know what she means.
We shouldn't. We shouldn't start on poor old Al. Come on, let's be nice to him. He's only been let out for a couple of hours from the home. Come on, let's be nice.
Well, I mean, we could bring Al to the centre stage now. He could do Ian's lightning round questions.
Oh yeah, watch that.
We'll have a chat about running every day.
Right, we ready?
Have we prepped him for this? Does he know it's coming?
Right, you ready for
Run
this?
the BT.
Right, roll the titles, boys. Roll the titles.
Welcome back, Ian.
Hello.
Welcome to the lightning round. This is the best part of the show. I probably didn't tell you that in the prep, but you can't go wrong. You know the answers, trust me. So I'm just going to fire them at you, okay? Short, snappy. Let's have your best answers. So, Bucket list race.
I fancy the Comrades, the original marathon, but I definitely have to properly train for it.
Yeah, you got to do both there and back, remember? 2 years running. Pre-race breakfast?
It's got to be a bagel, peanut butter, a bit of honey, and a bit of banana on the top.
Cool, sounds good. Favourite distance? We probably know the answer to this, but tell us anyway.
Probably ultra for the buffet, but I am partial to a nice fast road 10k.
Okay, good stuff. Nike or Adidas?
Nike.
Okay, favourite brand of running shorts?
Shorts. I'm using Under Armour at the minute.
Okay, cool. Coke or Pepsi?
Pepsi.
Summer or winter training?
Doesn't make any difference. I'm a red run. I'm training every day.
Cool stuff. Road or trail?
Trail.
Your one song playlist. Remember, it's got to keep you going 50 miles.
It's got to be Foo Fighters Pretender.
Okay, last question. Newcastle or Sunderland?
Is that even a question? Newcastle, of course.
You tell me. Right, roll the titles, Ty.
Oh, he done well.
That was great, Ian. Yeah, and that reminds me of a story that my dad used to work with a Geordie, and his dad wouldn't eat bacon because it was red and white stripes. So, it's can be pretty divisive there, Newcastle or Sunderland.
I think some of the fans even boycotted Sugar Puffs at one point because there was one of them on the advert had a red and white strip on or something.
I have to say, I think the people up in Newcastle, the North East, are just the best. I mean, and that's when I said it. I mean, and that's not just because Ian's here, but that's the thing that brings me back to the Great North Run every single year is the people of the North East. They are just the best. Absolutely. I know they're just amazing people, friendly and outgoing. Just I don't give a monkeys about nothing. It's brilliant.
Yeah, it's going to be great. We only got a few weeks now. It's not long at all.
Yeah, not long.
It's a month. It was a month yesterday.
I remember actually. It brings me to a story about Ian. Ian, do you remember when we was doing? I can't remember which year it was, and I was running and I was mucking about with the camera as well, and as usual. And and I'm not going to try and do your accent here, but it was all right, Fordy. How you doing? He just started chatting to me, but he came up like a silent assassin behind me. Chat, like he was out for a walk in the park, and then just like legged it past me. He was like gone up the hill. We was at what's the?
I think it was the Felon bypass going past Gateshead Stadium. I think.
And he was just chatting away. It was just like he was just out for a daily stroll. It was brilliant. But again, just brings back amazing memories of my favourite race of the year. So, are you going to be doing it this year, Ian?
I will be, definitely. Yeah, I've got a membership, so I cannot not do it. I mean, the roads all close anyway, like, so I kind of get away with not doing it.
What do you think? What's the reaction up there about the course changes and everything? Because obviously, because of the virus and concerns about packed public transport, they're not going to South Shields this year, which is obviously your hometown. It must be pretty hard.
A bit gutted for all the local businesses that kind of rely on the trade and stuff for South Shields, but I think looking at the route they've done, it's probably the best they could come up with. You know what I mean? Keeping it on the kind of dual carriageway and then kind of out and back. You know, so it's going to be different. I think I see a lot of people asking questions. What's the route like? Because I've ran from South Shields up to Newcastle before, and it's uphill, even though it doesn't seem like it is. So I think it's going to be a bit trickier than the normal one, to be fair, but finishing in the town centre. So
I'd imagine, I'm sure the public will get behind it just like they always do, and it will be
always
a great event.
Oh yeah, definitely, without a doubt.
Now, Ian, before we go, we need to talk about Reds running every day, because can you just fill us in on how many consecutive days you've been out running?
Today is 622 days of running every day, at least 1 mile.
Sorry, say that again, Ian. Just to make sure people understood how many days you've been running for. Say it again.
622 days. I started running streak on the 1st of December 2019.
Okay, I tell you what. Anybody, can you raise Ian's 600 and whatever it is? Put it on 22. The chat, or send me send us an email, longrunshow@gmail.com, if you can beat Ian's long run every day streak. 600 and what was it again, Ian? I still can't get
22. 622.
So on the 1st of December 2019, Ian, did you sort of like get up and think, you know what, I'm just going to go out and run and see how many days I can run without stopping?
Well, I think I'm involved in another community, which is the Red community, and they do like a big push for like 1st of December to run every day in December. I think there's a couple of different communities do it. Like there's a Red one, I think there's a Marketing one as well, and it's just kind of a push to try and do a run every day in December, because it's the toughest year, and you can it's whatever weather, you know, it could be running in wind, hail, snow, you know, lightning probably this year. You know what I mean? So it's the hardest day. I mean, I've done it for the past 4 years. Before that, just trying to do like keep your running streak going. I think I've managed like 60 days and 80 days and stuff. And this is the first year I've managed to keep it kind of going into like nearly 2 years now. So I think I've kind of cracked it.
Success down to what's the factor, you know, keeps it ticking along?
I think probably what I've done differently this time is I've not focused as much on me pace fast. I think what a lot of people do when they first start doing the run streaks, they try and do like the 5k Parkrun PB every day, and you just can't. Your body just can't do it. I mean, your body needs a rest. I mean, obviously with Red, that's the tricky thing. That with rest, you cannot really kind of rest because you've got to keep going. But I think you use things like I use me 1 mile slower days as kind of a rest day, and then I could keep chipping over till I feel a bit better, and I start doing my longer runs as well. Obviously, things like marathons and so like halves and stuff. My ultras, I think the day after I've done my ultras, I think my legs just don't feel my own, but I just kind of crawl around and do a 1 mile just to keep it ticking over.
And do you is it that you have to have you had any real close shaves? Is there any times you've been sat on the sofa at 11:30 at night and then thought, oh bloody hell, I'm not done with run?
I don't think it's been that close, but there has been times where I've got to go at 8 o'clock and I've realised, because I've had a busy day, I thought, I better get out and do it, you know what I mean? So, but I think as well, what I've kind of learned is to be very creative. I mean, you use things like kind of running at the shops as your Red run, you know what I mean? Obviously, some of the us northeasters will like a bit of beer and that now and again. I think there's been times when I've actually been out on a night out, knowing I've been too worse for wear, so I've stayed out till after 12 o'clock, then done my Red run at 12 o'clock midnight. So I've got I've still got it the next day and it's done. And it's
You've got to admire the ingenuity of that.
That is hardcore. Well, Alan, have you ever done one of these streaks?
Told you, day 10. No, I think my maximum is 18 because I do like a rest. Snoozing comes into play. So rest days and snooze days are essential on Hanson plan. But no, it's great effort. You know,
I mean, that goes in line with what Ian is saying about intensity and all that, doesn't it? That you can't, because the Hanson's such an intense activity. Generally.
Ian, have you got enough years left in you to beat dear old Ron Hill? What was he, 52 years, wasn't he?
No, I don't think I have, but I'll give it a bash. Give it a try.
Keep going.
Have you got a goal in which to reach in terms of, you're running? Is it I want to run for 5 years. I want to run. It just sounds ridiculous, but is there a goal that you've got when you are you going to be like Forrest and just be running down the road and stop and go, right, that's it, I'm done now?
I'm not really sure at the minute. I mean, the first one was kind of like, obviously I've done like kind of 3 months and stuff, and I think my big one was kind of getting a full year done. Once I've done that, I mean, you kind of tick off your milestones, like a 600 was my last one. Obviously 2 years is my next goal. I'm just going to keep going that, and then, I mean, there's another one where you hit 1,000, so that's called in the red community, like kind of your comma day. So it's your first comma day, so you've done 1,000 days. And there is actually ones, I can't remember how many days Forrest Gump actually ran, but there is actually a Forrest Gump day it's called as well, for like how many days he ran as well. Like, so I'm just going to keep going. I mean, from my point of view, it's that much of a habit to us now, obviously, the more you do it, you just think, I may as well do it. It's a habit. So, and I mean, from my point of view, anybody can kind of find 10, 15 minutes a day to just do a mile.
Actually, Ian, I've got, what's your, if somebody is looking to start, I know a lot of the streaks, they happen by accident and then people fall into it, but what would be your number one tip for anybody on a run streak to whether it be to maintain it or whatever? What would be your number one tip?
I'd definitely say just slow the pace and intensity down. Obviously, if you're doing kind of training plans, you can still do your intensive days on there, but keep your kind of like rest days as being a slow, just kind of plod. That's how you maintain it. Using your 1 mile day as a kind of a rest day. I mean, if I can do 4 ultras in 4 weekends and still maintain my run streak, that shows I'm doing something right. And touch wood, I haven't been injured for a while. So
hold on, he's just slipped that in. 4 ultras in 4 weekends.
4 ultras in 4 weekends here.
Yeah. Obviously, it started in I think when I done the wall relay with them for the Northeast
4
Fordies.
ultras in 4 weekends.
Yeah. So
what
I done.
Are you like Wolverine or something?
Possibly. So I done the wall, and then the next week I done Race to Castle 100k over 2 days. And then I done Endure 24, and I managed 7 laps of that, which is 35 miles. And then the week after that, I done me St. Cuthbert's Way 45 miler.
That's insane. Can someone email us? Anybody who's beaten that? That's incredible. 4 ultras in. That's amazing. That is incredible. Oh, geez. And you know what? Actually, I'm sorry, Ian. I was actually thinking, there's a couple of people in the group, isn't there, Al? Who've been on big streaks.
Chloe down in Southend has just done 365, and Nini down in South London, she did her 365 a couple of weeks ago. So we've got people chasing you, mate. You're going to have to keep on your toes.
I
can't afford to stop.
Yeah, keep going then.
Just keep going. Oh, we've got our Razor. Hang on, Ray. Do you guys think? Sorry, this is totally unrelated, but we do love Ray. Do you think the guys, the Mach 4 would be a good non-plated marathon shoe? No, Ray, it's not. I hope that answers that. I wouldn't wear it for a marathon. That's another story. But yeah, sorry. I just can't get over that 4. That's incredible. Isn't it?
Yeah.
Get your heads around that, boys.
How do you keep yourself going when you're? I mean, you've got a pretty big pair of headphones on there, Ian, that we can see us YouTube viewers. People who are on Spotify or downloading it on the podcast will have to take our word for it. But do you keep yourself going with music or books or what? How do you manage to do these distances?
I know how he does it. I know. There's been 7 episodes now. So what he does, he just puts them on shuffle from the Long Run podcast. He just shuffles them and he listens to them for those 4 ultras. That's what he does.
In the Fordy playlist, of course.
Yeah. Oh, the Fordy playlist.
Well, I see there's a new playlist doing the. Oh, there's rumours of a new playlist.
Yeah.
doing
Well,
that.
this was it, wasn't it? We're trying to create the next or the new playlist for, because all of them, but the marathons are coming back in September, October. So we're trying to put a playlist together for the guys to listen to as they're going around. Now, personally, I'll just put it out there with the London Marathon in mind. I would recommend not listening to music while you're doing the London Marathon, especially. I've got no idea what the atmosphere is going to be like this year, by the way. But I would recommend not to wear any music and just soak up the atmosphere. But if you are out there and music's your thing, if you're not listening to the Long Run podcast, which you can download on Spotify and all other podcast platforms, then hopefully we've got the playlist up and running, because there was some cracking entries in there. I know the old guy was trying to get Ollie Murs up there, so that could get included, but we think we've probably missed that one out by accident. Nick Astley was making a surprise climb up the charts as well.
Now, I must say, when I saw this, that one of the records that was about 5th or 6th in the list, I cannot think of a worse running record than Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah, that's a funny one.
Those different changes of pace and everything like that. I mean, I don't like the record anyway.
It's like doing a musical fartlek, Ian.
Yeah, it's a bit like that.
Fartlek.
You'd be chilling, and then all of a sudden you'd be running really fast.
Yeah, I just can't. I couldn't. Plenty of Queen songs. Don't Stop Me Now.
Yeah.
Another One Bites the Dust. Lots of other ones like that. Fine. I could not think of a worst.
Let us know. Email in the show. What's your worst running song? We've talked about best running song. What was it in the lightning round? Al, was it your number one song on the playlist?
Well, it's the one song playlist.
Yeah. So what would be the song that you wouldn't have on the playlist? Now that would be interesting.
Yeah. The playlist won't be getting within 4 postal codes of my iPhone if it's got Bohemian Rhapsody on it.
So everybody, just so you know, if you want to get Wilco Ian a Christmas present, send him a copy.
Yeah, Queen's Greatest.
Send it to, and while you're at it, the DVD of Wayne's World. So just send that to Ian. He'd love it. Oh dear. Yes, boys, have we got time for? Because I've had I've had about 1 million emails this week, but have we got time to
let's smash some emails. And Ian, please feel free to join in if
Ian, we want your input on these. Let me as always, I've not printed them off or planned it in any way. We're just going to wing it. So as we always do, old site. Let me get it up. So thanks to everybody. This is coming. Now, who remembers this? Mark Jones. Do you remember toenail gate that we had?
Oh yeah, the toenail
story from a couple of do you remember that? Hi guys, just thought I'd update you on the toenail.
Oh, you've had your teeth photos.
Big thanks for the shout out and being the first email being read out on the show. The other big toenail has now gone black. Keep up the good work.
Very much.
Sorry, I had to give you right, but that wasn't the one I was going to read out. So here we go. Now I said this is from Mr. Nobody Runs. Here we go. Bear with me, all right? Because I'm going to try and read this out as quick as I can. Basically, he loves the YouTube channel, loves it, and I'm not surprised. If you're not subscribed, make sure you do. I was just wondering if you could give me a bit of advice. I'm running the Great North Run. Good news. And he's looking forward to it. But during my training for my first half, I got to 10K and then got sick for 2 months. I'm sorry to hear that. I ran a few times, walked a lot, blah, blah, blah. Once I was well again, I went out running, did a couple of 5Ks and 7Ks, and then moved up to 11K. My problem is since I've run, I've ended up with my inner shins just above the ankle aching quite a lot while running. And with 5 weeks to go until the Great North Run, I don't really want to take time off. I was wondering if any suggestions. Now, this does lead in to another email that we've had, which was similar because it was from Sarah from Hereford. And she was asking about dealing with injury niggles when marathon training. So a similar sort of thing is how do you deal with the aches and pains and moans and groans that your body's telling you whether you're training for a marathon or half marathon. So, Ian, start with you with your ultra marathon hat on and your red streak hat on. How do you, with those sort of niggles, how do you deal with those yourself?
Sounds to me a bit more like it's just been he's had a little bit of a rest, and he's kind of like upped his intensity. He's kind of like take the intensity down a little bit to kind of like give your muscles in your shins a chance to kind of like build back up again, because that's what normally shin splints is. It's just kind of overuse, isn't it? You know what I mean? So it's kind of like maybe
it's I mean that's it's classic sign. It's just overuse. With shin splints, I mean, first thing, as I think we said the other week, didn't we, boys? Go and see a specialist. Number one, none of us here are qualified to talk about any of this. It's just purely our own opinion. But with shin splints, go and see somebody. Sometimes it's just getting your calves. You know, make sure you're rolling out your calves, stretching out your calves, and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, it can really, really help. Get the old massage going on the calves and all that kind of stuff. That can really help alleviate some of the stress that's causing the shin splints. But in general, with answering sort of both the questions, I guess, is with those niggles. Me personally, I tend, this is the worst advice, I tend to run through them a little bit until I get to the point, because I know my body now, right? I know at which point, basically, I need to go and see Monica and moan and groan and swear at her for an hour while she sticks needles in me. I know at which point it is, and I think if anybody is getting some niggles, I think that the number one advice really is just to go, as soon as you get it, go and see someone, because then they can, if they catch it early enough, it can be such a simple thing as, you know, you should be doing more stretches here. You should be, you know, really focusing your rolling on this area, or, you know, get a bit of KT tape just to give you a bit of support the way it's done properly, and just, you know, maybe run a little bit easier, and they can give you some proper advice. And
like all medical things, if you've got a small thing, it's easier to deal with a small thing than if you leave it and you aggravate it.
Like I've said a million times, the reason I go Monica is because usually she finds the problem somewhere else on my body. So it could be, you know, your shin splints could be coming from, you know, weak glutes or something else, or
which could be related to your back or something.
Yeah, if you're getting niggles through your marathon train, it's probably because you've not, you know, trained, so you're not strength and conditioned at all. You've not worked on your core. So maybe it's a little bit late now with 5-6 weeks to go, but you can still do some work in terms of stretching and doing stuff like yoga, Pilates, and all that kind of stuff to help that and those niggles and things like that. So I think that's some advice. I say I wouldn't listen to what I do, which is tend to run through these things, because that's how I end up in the mess that I do. But yeah, hopefully that's answered that. There was a question. I saw a question coming from somebody on the YouTube. Yeah. What was it, Al?
Barside. Looks like he's training for the Brighton Marathon in, was it just over 4 weeks? He's got a long run coming up this Saturday, followed by a half marathon the following week. How should he tackle it? Is it go hard? Is it take 10K as a warm-up and then take it easy? How should you treat those as we're virtually reaching taper time?
What, the half marathon? Is that what he's the half?
It's the long slow run, the 37K 1 week, and the half marathon the next. So two consecutive weekends.
I would run the half marathon at goal pace. Is what I would do. I would run it at your target pace. So basically, forget whatever race it is and think that it's the Brighton Marathon. So go through the whole procedure of race day prep, everything that you would do for Brighton Marathon, do it that day. So take 300 stops to the Portaloo, take a selfie in the Portaloo and tag me at Fordy runs, at Fordy_runs on Instagram. If you're like Toby, then obviously, have a couple of more trips than you need, but then just do the whole race prep, right? Like it was the Brighton Marathon, then go and run that half marathon exactly the way your strategy, whatever you're going to be doing, is on the day. So if you're looking to even split it, or you're looking to negative split it, whatever your goal pace is, or however, if you run into heart rate, zone 2, 3, whatever, run it exactly like that. In terms of your long run, I would run your long run as you have been running your long runs, building your miles up. Hopefully you've been doing them at easy pace, relatively low to moderate effort levels, but with a little bit of pace in there at some point. Don't do what I did on Sunday, which was I went like well early on my pace and started running. What was it, 7.5 minute miles or something? I was doing. I went. It's like
you wanted to go home.
I just wanted to get home, and then I totally blew up with a mile to go, and I was done. But lucky for me, the train lines came down, and I got to recover. But I went off way too early, didn't stick to pace, and I blew up on the 20 miler. And that's, and I wouldn't class myself as experienced, but, I know my way around a 20-mile run now, but I still cocked it up. So don't do what I did. Just make sure you stick to your plan, do what you've done. And
it sounds like a good opportunity to try a few things out for race, to finalize your plans.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sounds like a good idea. You'd recommend that, 3 or 4 weeks before doing the race.
Yeah, I told Sabrina to do that. She was asking me about the big half because she's doing that. I think a lot of London Marathon runners are doing the big half because it's part of the course backwards. And I said to her, because of the timing, to go out and run the big half exactly as though you was running the first half of London. Everything, because you've got the bag drop, you've got all the toilets, you've got all the stress of getting there. Some of it's going to be early. I think some of the waves start at like 9 o'clock. You've got to get into London and all that kind of stuff. So literally just drill it as though it's the big day.
And it's no coincidence that these things are 3 or 4 weeks before. This is why they're organised, because they know that people who are doing the London Marathon will use it as a warm up and a good opportunity for them. So join the party.
Yeah, 100%. If you've got no target in mind in terms of your marathon or half marathon, whatever it is, then just go and have fun. I mean, that's the best thing. My number one advice is always to go and have a good time, smile and have a good time as you go around. But if you are, got a time in mind or some form of goal, then whatever that goal is, then practice it in your half marathon. So hopefully that helped. Do we got anything else coming in? Or have I got?
Yeah, I think I've got to raise this because I know on previous podcasts we've upset some of the Northerners. This week I think we've upset some of the Southerners. There's a few shout-outs for the Great South Run. Emphasise Great South Run, not the North Run. So there's a few votes for that. No, well, we might as well be balanced. Upset everyone. Keep it consistent.
Sit in the middle.
Richie Flores signed up to do 100k, so that feels like a long way. How many miles is that, Ian? Come on, you should know.
100k, about 60 mile.
Is that race to the stones? Wow. I fancy doing that.
There's a few that are about that distance.
Yeah, there's Stones Tower.
He mentioned it. And coming back to the northeast, Karen Lumley's asked Ian again if he's got any experience of running the Hard Moors Ultra. So, ever done that one, Ian?
There's a few of them. I did one. It was the 30, which was actually about 34 miles, and it was up and down the steps from Whitby and Ravenscar, and that was tough. They are really, really tough. They're not called Hard Moors without a reason, but they're really good, well organised. Okay. And the buffet table is good as well.
Ian, that's something else to look at now, isn't it? Look at the incline and the food. And then
do you have this sort of sixth sense that, this is going to be really tough, I've got to do this one?
What was that?
Do you get the sense that, this one's going to be really tough, I've got to do it? Or do you sort of like try and modify the ones and do the ones that you'll complete and there won't be any issues?
No, I like to challenge myself. I mean, like I say, next year I'm planning on doing Endure 24 as a solo. I know there's loads of people do it, and trying to do as many laps as I can in 24 hours. I'm hoping to try and do at least 50 a day. And probably the year after, I'm planning on trying to do the wall, which is 70 miles all the way along. So just keep challenging myself,
That's hardcore. And obviously, don't forget the Fordy Hertfordshire to Southend Ice Cream Ultra. Don't forget that one, Ian. I think that's the one that's going to be on everyone's bucket list for 2022.
I'll check whether the halfway house is still open on the A127.
Oh yeah,
if anyone knows the answer.
The good thing is for Toby, we actually go past, I think, 3 McDonald's.
Are they going to shut the M25 for us?
Huh?
Are they going to shut the M25 for us?
We might get that. That might be costly, but no, there must be a route. There must be.
Be quicker to avoid the M25. You've been
Yeah,
on
there's
it.
got to be a route to
probably
get
would,
to
actually.
Southend
You're probably
from
right.
here. We're gonna get this.
I'll look up the cycle route.
And
Yeah.
no, nothing to
then
do
it
with
must be an
cycling.
all right route. If they cycle
It'll
it,
be
you can
down
run
the
it.
A10, round the North Circular, and out on the A127 through Ilford, I'd suggest. But I'm
Oh, lovely.
only guessing.
Nice and quiet. That
Scenic, I think, is one way of describing that.
So,
That'd be
Ian,
hard.
you're doing the Great North Run. What's your next event? What's your next ultra?
I haven't got any ultras planned yet. Doesn't mean I'm not. I mean, I will be doing. I think I've got a Hardmoors half, which I think is about 16 mile. I think that's in a couple of weeks after the London Marathon, because I've got London Marathon in October as well. Not much this year, but obviously next year I'm making plans for doing the other stuff. But tomorrow I've got one. It's just a 10k, the Gateshead Trail 10k. I think meeting with a few northeast Fordies there, like say Jan and a few other people around from
Lovely.
the northeast.
Lovely.
You know what I mean? So that's tomorrow. I'm looking forward to that one because that's actually still my PB from 5 years ago. I think my 10k PB, which I'm not fast enough to beat at the minute, like with us doing my ultra training. But yeah, definitely
Ian,
got plans.
are you a charity place for London?
No, luckily enough, myself and my friend Adrian, who is also another 40 runner, we managed to win a place on the Virgin Marathon Facebook page.
Wow.
You know, where you kind of tag your mate.
Wow.
I think all my
Well,
friends,
you
I think,
deserve it, mate.
Yeah.
all my friends seem to think I'm lucky as hell because the amount of stuff I won. I think I once won a team entry to Endure, which is about 600 quid or something.
Oh my
I've won a
life.
pair of
I'm
aftershocks headphones and stuff. You
I'm
know.
going to jump on him and rub myself all over Ian and see if some of his luck rubs off onto me. Something to
Yeah,
look forward to, Ian.
I'm always
Well,
getting
it's the only
tagged.
lucky Ian on the call anyway.
That's incredible.
That's brilliant. Well, Ian, thanks ever so much for joining us tonight and giving us a real good insight into the world of long distance running, past the marathon mark. I look forward to seeing you at the Great North Run. It's going to be great. I'm really looking forward to coming up. Thanks ever so much for your company.
Ian. Appreciate it.
Pleasure.
Chris, what are you up to this weekend?
Yeah, so like, as I said, we're going to McDonald's. Parkrun in the morning, and then we're smashing up a shed. That's a story for another day. And then Sunday, Sabrina's running 1:59:59, and then we're going to then do 10k after that. So we'll get our 20 miles in. That's the plan for Sunday, and then next week is more the same. I think we just got to keep going now. Obviously, with the focus on the London physical, my time aspirations I think will go out of the window because you can't run really. I don't think focus on too much of a time at London. I'll go there and just have a good time. So I'm now probably focused a little bit more on putting more distance in than speed. So, but I'm not going to chase it over the next couple of weeks. I'm just going to try and enjoy myself really as we get closer and closer to the big day. But yeah, that's it. What about you guys?
We congratulate Al on his 50th Parkrun.
Oh yeah, well done.
T-shirt
Aaron.
has arrived. Woo!
Has it? Have you got it?
You're going to be running it tomorrow.
Where is it?
It's not in the same postcode as me, but it will be coming out soon. But I'm going off to Wickford to knock up my 51st park run.
Good man.
I'm hoping the cakes are as good as last week. Big shout out to Jan for her vegan chocolate brownies.
Oh, so, Mark McGreevy, you got to give a shout out to Posty because Mark McGreevy, we got you some vegan. What was it? Vegan fudge.
Vegan fudge? Oh, epic! Yes, Mark, please.
Yeah, the Posty.
I'll make a guest appearance at Broxbourne to come and pick it up. That sounds.
Al will take all your vegan, donations. So if you've been to Tesco's and you've accidentally picked up the wrong thing and you get your basket, you think, "Oh bloody hell, I've picked up the vegan sausages or something." Al will take
donations. Welcome.
So just give us a nod, send us an email, tell us what sort of vegan food stuff that you might have, and I'm sure we'll have them.
And I'll take them out on my Sunday night run. There's a gang of mad Fordies repeating the London Relay route. Remember the London Relay from a couple of years ago that run 24/7? Yeah, there's about half a dozen of us going out at 3:30 in the morning to run some of London. So if you're in London at that time,
who's going? Give him a shout out.
Give us a shout out. I can't remember who's going. That's admin, Chris. I don't do that kind of thing. But we'll post it in the group. Make sure those that do know.
It's going to be one of those.
Stu, I think's there. Faye's there. Sheila's there. Caroline's there. I'm there. Apologies if I've missed you. Kathy's there. They're the ones I do know about. There'll be more. But yeah, if you're piling out of the clubs at 4 a.m. along the embankment, look out for us. We might be running past you.
That's brilliant. Yeah.
Well, what about you, Ian? Where are you running Parkrun tomorrow?
I'm at Bexley again. I'm down in London, so I'm doing that. But I won't be making. I'll be making a fewer trips down there because I'm going to be moving soon, hopefully. So I'll be coming back around Hertfordshire way. But yeah, looking forward to that. Did my first one on Sunday. It was a bit wet. Last Saturday it was a bit wet, but yeah, enjoyed it. Nice people down there.
Long running
and a nice
Sunday.
route.
Long running
Sunday. I'm having a rest because I've got a family do. So I had I did 30 miles yesterday. So I did my long run yesterday.
Yeah.
Okay,
and
so
Chris, before we go, can we give a shout out to Nettie? She's doing her delayed skiathlon tomorrow. We haven't spoken about skiathlon for at least 2 weeks.
Well, yeah, best of luck.
Just mad love to Nettie. Mad love to Nettie. They're thinking of you, Nettie. So if you are listening, just we're thinking of you. Okay. So
so thanks ever so much for joining us. So thanks to Ian Wilson, who's been our guest this week. Absolutely great insight into the world of ultras. We are on YouTube every Friday at 7 o'clock for the live stream. But if you're not around, it doesn't matter because you can download us on various podcast providers such as Spotify, Yahoo, Google, all your usual sort of people. You can always catch us on there, so you can download us, take us for your own long run, and please join us again next week. Don't forget, send us your emails, longrunshow@gmail.com. We love to hear from you. You make the show as much as we do. We don't like to talk too much, and we love your input. So please join us every week, and we shall see you next Friday. So thanks very much.
Thanks a lot, guys. Take care. We'll see you soon.
Cheers, everyone.